Thanks for joining us, Yanci. The European Union Chamber of Commerce in China has been focusing on Chinese market and its economy and has published a large number of insightful and far-reaching reports. So could you please share with us your observations about Chinese modernization process from the perspective of economic and foreign investment development? And what do you think of China's current modernization achievements?
Yeah. There's no doubt about it that China has come very, very far over the past 20-25 years, in particular since the country joined the WTO and became sort of a fully integrated part of the global community and global trade. And as we all know today, China is the world's largest trading nation. I think one of the things that we have seen in particular over the past decade is how China has managed to climb the value ladder, starting out as doing basic assembly work, labor-intensive, low value-added stuff, but increasingly have managed to engage in ever more complex production processes and supply chains. I think that has been quite an achievement to see how fast and on the scale really that China has been able to do that, really evolve and grow into this ever higher value-added industries. So today China is an indispensable part of global supply chains, and as we all know, the world's largest exporter.
As we all know, that Chinese modernization represents the harmonious coexistence between human beings and nature. And last December, you participated in the China International Supply Chain Expo and attended the Clean Energy Forum and delivered the keynote speech. So what opportunities do you see in the cooperation between China and Europe in the fields of the green development?
I think very prudently, China has very ambitious CO2 reduction goals. I think there's a lot of stuff that can take place into China, and there are ambitious plans for that, and that's very good. The other part is, of course, that China has today become a leader within green technology, whether it's solar, whether it's electric vehicles and battery technology of that. So China will be part of the solution. China will be a part of the solution in terms of bringing down its own very large CO2 emissions today, but also in terms of enabling the rest of the world to reduce its CO2 emissions.
China aims to strengthen regional connectivity by actively promoting the Belt and Road Initiative. So in your opinion, what are the influences and significances of the Belt and Road Initiative to the European companies and also the international logistics sector?
I think in many ways it has been positive in the sense that China's own experience is that China was only able to have this trade-based growth because the infrastructure was there, because the connectivity was there. And I think that's what Belt and Road can help to. There are still many areas in the world where you need to improve on connectivity, where you need to have better infrastructure, and Belt and Road can help provide that, and in that way help these countries to have growth, to develop their own trade and create wealth and prosperity on that basis.
At the present, Chinese President Xi Jinping is on the state visit to France, Serbia, and also Hungary in Europe. And since last year, China and Europe have exchanged frequent high-level visits. German Chancellor Scholz visited China last month, and this year also marks the 60th anniversary of the establishment of the diplomatic relations between China and France. And China-Europe exchanges have frequently released positive signals. So may I ask, how do you look forward to the future development of China-Europe relations, and what do you think is the key to the success of China-Europe cooperations?
I think it is very, very positive that we have President Xi now going to France these days. It's very, very positive that we have the German Chancellor coming here just a few weeks ago. We need more of that. I think one of the big casualties of the pandemic was people-to-people relations, and I think we really need to invest in reconnecting again. We saw as a consequence of the pandemic that a great many Europeans have actually left China and gone back to Europe. In our experience, China's best ambassadors back in Europe are actually European people who have been living here and can come back and tell about, you know, the real China they have experienced with their own eyes. So we hope we'll be able to bring back more people from Europe to live and work and have a China experience here. We think that is something that will help contribute to rebuild trust and to make sure that we can continue to develop positively together. When you look at the bilateral Europe-China relationship, historically, I mean, when we look over the past 2-3 decades, there's no doubt that the bilateral relationship has created a lot of value for Europe and for China. European companies, European consumers have been an important driving force towards creating development and prosperity in China. And by the same token, high quality and very competitive product from China has contributed to improve the quality of life in Europe by simply, you know, making sure that consumers get more value for their money. That has been a positive thing, both for China and for Europe. And we think in the chamber that going forward there will be a very significant potential to create value between the two sides. And I think the focus now must be on how can we protect that potential.
Since last month, China has implemented a visa-free policy for ordinary passport holders from Switzerland, Ireland, Hungary, and other 6 countries on a trial basis. So what do you think of China's policy of expanding its friend circle in Europe, and what impacts do you think this will have on the economic and trade exchanges between China and Europe?
We have been very happy to see the visa-free travel regulations that are being applied now to several European countries. Here under France, for example, we would like to see that expanded to cover all 27 EU countries. And of course, by the same token, we also hope that it will become easier for Chinese people to travel to Europe. Really, engagement is key. The visa-free travel we can already see now is beginning to have a positive effect. You know, before, it has been a relatively long process getting a visa to visit China. You had to plan months in advance. What I'm beginning to hear now when I travel around China and I meet with our members is that, you know, executives in Europe say, hey, I can travel without a visa. Why don't I come next week?
Okay, so much for today's interview. Thank you again.
Thanks for having me.